My name is Richard Bertinet and welcome to my kitchen. I've been baking since the age of about 14, so flour is in my blood, as we say. What I love the most now is sharing my secrets, sharing my expertise and also a lot of tips, so hopefully you can recreate at home. So today I'm going to show you how to make some bread roll. Sounds boring, but it's not. We're going to do it with a seeded malted flour and also with some rosemary and thyme on top. So the first thing we're going to do is make a paste, or what I call a roux, and this will give us softness into our dough. The paste is made with some full-fat milk, but you could use semi-skim and some flour. So we've got some seeded malted bread flour in here, and then we're going to bring it just to a simmer. So not that it boils everywhere, just when it starts to simmering. So you can see my milk just starts with a skin on the top, and what we call trembling, and the steam starts to come out. And now the bubbles start. So put the flour all in one go, and then on the heat for 10 seconds. So the flour cook in the milk and the starch coming out. And this will give you a nice tenderness into your bun. And the color there comes from the malt in the flour. Delicious. That's all, done. Very simple. So the paste in here, you can do it in advance and leave it cool down by itself, but I'm going to show you a quick trick so it doesn't get too cold. We're going to tip it into the mixing bowl. And what I do to cool it down a little bit is spread it around the bowl like so. Don't forget, all the recipe and ingredients are all on the link below. So I'm going to put my salt straight into my flour, and then I use 1 teaspoon quick yeast, mix it well together. Put the flour first, and then add my water. Scrape the side a little bit, so my paste goes down, and that's ready for the mixer. Using the dough hook, form it on slow speed, so we mix everything properly before we go on medium speed. So of course I'm using a mixer, but you can do that dough very easily by hand. Just don't add too much flour to it, that's the main thing. Stick to the recipe. So that's been about 4 minutes now. I'm going to put the speed up on medium. And we mix it until all the dough comes clean from the side of the bowl. So the flour I'm using today is the Waitrose seeded and malted bread flour. So the good thing with this, everything is in there. All the seeds, the malt. So if you're scared of how much seed you got to use in your flour, it's all in there already. So nice and easy. When my dough is mixing, you might have seen my clock, it doesn't move. When we wired it in, it stopped working. So it'll be the same time all day today. Dough is ready. You can see it's nice and clean on the side now. Look at this beauty. So I put it on the table with no flour. It's got a beautiful color. The malt is amazing. You can see all the seeds. So if we put a dough like to rest, there's no shape into it. So we need to give it a bit of tension. So the way I do this is give it a stretch and fold it over itself. And already you can see that skin forming there. And then with a scraper, just give it a bit of a spin. That's what I call walking the dough. So the good thing with the scraper, it stops you touching the dough too much. And with the scraper, the dough doesn't stick to it. And it's good for the winter, for your windscreen too. So now I can put a tiny bit of flour. Look at this, beautiful. So bouncy. And what I'm going to do is turn it upside down. So my sticky side is up now. And then just fold it over itself a few times. Just bringing all the tension to the center. Turn it over, and there you have it. Your dough is ready. You can see all the air inside already. I'm going to get the bowl, tiny bit of flour. And then we cover it and let it rest for a good hour. That's a good time to put your oven on now. Put some baking soda inside if you've got some. On fan oven, usually about 240. I want my oven to be really, really hot. So when our bread goes inside, put a bit of steam in there, get a nice bloom in your oven. So my dough now is beautiful risen. So now we're going to divide the dough. With my scraper, tip the dough over. So your sticky side is up. The top is not sticky at all. So what we do, just square the dough in the front of you a little bit. A bit of flour on your hand like that. Just tap it gently. And then fold once and press into the spine, what I call the middle in here. And fold this one over, and now your top is back on top, and the dough doesn't stick. And then you get your scales, and divide this into 100-gram pieces. To make it easy, cut in half again, like so. And if you have a bit of stickiness in here, seal it with your fingers, and turn it slightly. So you've got 2 long legs now to divide. 100 gram is roughly here, 98, that's not bad. Try to be as accurate as you can. 100, look, I'm not lying, perfect 100. So to be accurate, within 5 grams will help your baking also. So everything will bake on the same time. And a little rant, there's always one, never match. Large muffin tin like so, they work very well. And they will hold the shape quite nicely. What we're going to do is press gently, turn over, and put your thumb on the middle of the dough, like that. And fold the dough into the center over your thumb. And I spin the dough with my left hand and fold it with my right hand. Use your thumb as a guide. So what's happened is like this. The dough spinning over itself, and you got the tension growing on the top there, so it's nice and strong. So you end up with the top being here, and all the little bits are together. And this in here, that action in here, is what we call la clé, the key. You lock everything together. A bit of flour on the top, and that's in the tin. My motto at the kitchen is keep things simple, get a basic recipe that you're comfortable with, and you practice and practice another. The main thing with baking is to master the basic. When I started in the bakery at the age of 14, my boss used to give me a lump of dough and he stick to my hand for days. And he used to say in French to me, il faut maîtriser la pâte, which means show the dough's boss. And that stuck to my head all the time. You've got to master that dough first. So that's going to prove now for an hour, and then we bake them with a bit of steam. So you can bake them like that, that's absolutely fine, but we're going to make it a bit more exciting. I'm just going to do a big deep cut, and then make it a bit more sexy. We're going to put a bit of rosemary inside. You can use fresh thyme, very simple but very effective. Okay, so let's bake. So you can feel the heat. My stone here is really, really hot. I'm going to put this straight onto the stone, and then the water. And those will take about 20 minutes to bake. So the water will make steam in the oven. If you don't put steam, the crust will form straight away, and then you end up with a much heavier bread. I trained as a baker in France, and I fell in love with bread. And when I first arrived in England, I went to a party, and the man came to me with a big cigar and said, "So what do you do, my boy?" I said, "I'm a baker." And he looked at me very funny with my French accent. He said, "Well, which bank are you working with?" I said, No, I make bread, I'm a baker." And he walked out. And now if you go to a party, and you say you're a baker, people talk to you. Little beauties. So I take them off the tin as soon as possible so they don't get sweaty inside. Another tip also, if you want the crust to stay longer crusty, your door of the oven, 5 minutes ajar for the last 5 minutes of baking, dry heat, and you get a much better crust. Look at how beautiful that is. It smells so good, and I'm sorry, I can't resist fresh bread with a bit of Breton butter. If you've been to Brittany, butter is part of our life. Thank you. So here you are. Our malted seeded mini rolls ready for you. Please try them.